friends, welcome to Poetry Perch. This is our special Valentine's Day episode where we will be reading different kinds of love poems. We will be reading some romantic ones, friendship ones, just whatever we could find.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't have anything to say, I'd like to start.
Absolutely.
All right. This is The Good Morrow by John Donne.
Absolutely.
I wonder by my troth what thou and I did till we loved. Were not we weaned till then, but sucked on the country's pleasures childishly, or snorted we 7 sleepers' den? 'Twas so, but this all pleasure fantasy be. If any beauty I did see, which I desired, and got, 'twas but a dream of thee. And now, good morrow to our waking souls, for which do not one another out of fear. For love, all love, of other signals control, and makes one little room in everywhere. Let seas discoveries to new worlds have gone. Let maps to another world on worlds have shown. Let us possess one world. Each hath one, and each is one. My face in thine eye, thine in mine appear, and true plain hearts do not face the rest. Where can we find 2 better hemispheres, without sharp north, without decaying west? Whatever dies was not mixed equally. If our 2 loves be one, or thou and I, love so alike that none do slacken, none can die.
That was beautiful, Dina.
Thank you. I find that a good deal of these tend to discuss how even after the end of a relationship, things can still blossom, beautiful things. Whether that's a new relationship or something that you sit and make yourself, it's still something beautiful.
Beautiful, that's right.
Yeah.
What I really liked here was the use of imagery, the nostalgic imagery that John Donne implemented. And it's so powerful, but it's so universal. And I think that speaks a lot to what you're saying.
Absolutely.
There's less of an emphasis upon the individuals that you form a relationship with, less emphasis upon the friendships and the romantic attraction, less on the person and more about the feeling.
Of course.
Yes, it just lives on. It's absolutely universal, and I think that that's very powerful.
Oh, yes, for sure.
We as a society, we could really do to look and focus upon those emotions, that raw core energy.
Absolutely.
Choose love, you know?
Yeah. I believe we are now going to send it to our good friend Mackenzie Monroe, who will be reading Love and Friendship.
Love and Friendship by Emily Bronte. Love is like the wild rose briar, friendship like the holly tree. The holly is dark when the rose briar blooms, but which will bloom most constantly? The wild rose briar is sweet in spring, its summer blossoms scent the air. Yet wait till winter comes again, and who will the wild briar fare? Then scorn the silly rose wreath now, and deck thee with the holly sheen, that when December blights thy brow, he still may leave thy garden green.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie. I just love this one, you know. It's beautiful, and just thinking about the flowers. Something that I find is that a traditional Valentine's Day gift is flowers.
Flowers, that's right.
But also Valentine's Day is in the middle of February. Like, almost nothing is growing where we are. And then it's so hard to find just a flower outside during February. But just talking about them and that imagery is really beautiful.
You know, I never thought of that before, Dina. It's very, I find that amusing, but it is profound in a way.
Right.
It speaks to the rarity of love.
Oh, yeah.
Something about the flowers specifically in this that I noticed, it was almost Yuletide imagery.
Oh, yes.
Deck the holly, the rose wreath. Like
Yes.
that sounds like something you see in December more than February.
But when you speak of smelling flowers, when roses are brought up ever, immediately first thought romance.
Romance.
And just it's not common to see, new things to be born in February. It's nice when it happens. It's
It's so nice.
yeah. The unexpected,
Exactly.
It's one of those nicer things that happen.
There's an element of surprise, of novelty in the romance of February. And the flowers that you mentioned in particular.
Yeah.
Do you ever see a rose just growing in the wild?
It's pretty rare, at least where we live.
Yes.
And somewhere else, I'm sure, but not here.
Right. So it strikes you when you
Yeah,
see it.
yeah. And it's important to remember that, yes, rose, of course, is associated with that romance, with that emotion, but different roses have different things associated with them.
Yes, that's right.
Like the yellow rose, that's a friendship, a symbol of friendship, and it's nice to think of the different things that stuff means.
It makes me think of almost Elizabethan flowery language, like a white rose that could be innocence and purity, a black rose or a rosemary that could be mourning, that could be gloom and despair, and
just the different things meaning different things, whether positive or negative, is really powerful to the imagery of a lot of stuff like this.
I agree. Now, I actually have a poem myself, Dina, and
I'd love to hear it.
this here is by John Donne as well.
Oh, look at that.
It's The Sun Rising.
Okay.
Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lovers' seasons run? Saucy, pedantic wretch, go chide late schoolboys and sour pretenses. Go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride, call country aunts to harvest offices. Love all alike no season, nors no clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams, so reverent and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink? But that I would not lose her sight so long, if her eyes have not blinded thine. Look, and tomorrow late tell me, whether both Vinda's spices and of mine be where thou left'st them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou saw'st yesterday, and thou shalt hear, all here in one bed lay. She's all states, and all princes, aye, nothing else is. Princes but do play us, compared to this, all honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou, son, art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks ease, and since thy duties be to warm the world that's done in warming us, shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy sphere.
That one was really, what's the word I'm looking for here?
I mean, the first thing I thought of, it's quite a bit more dramatic than what we've been reading.
Yeah, dramatic. Maybe fantical.
Fantical, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to look at some of these lines. Saucy, pedantic, wretch, go chide. Late schoolboys and sour pretenses. Like,
it's much different than the last poem of his we read, which was about just that beautiful person.
Absolutely.
But it still had those fantastical elements to it.
absolutely.
It also talks about dreams and feelings, whereas that bridge between the two is quite impressive.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also like to think the context of that. There's a lot to unpack there.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
But right now, it might be a better time to cut to a commercial break.
Alrighty. Well, we will see you right here on Poetry Perch.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. Let me go home. I've had my run, baby, I'm done. I gotta go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Welcome back to Poetry Perch, friends. You know, that was really, really good stuff that we just read, but why don't you read us something else?
Absolutely. We're going to move away from John Donne's works for a bit, and we're going to look at a different John, John F. Dean. This is his poem, Rainbow.
Okay.
Already another year is touching on high tide. Winds have been raising waves across the swollen meadow, clouds gray and white and gray again. Bunch up like summer crowds on the slow road home from the shore. Joy made covenant with me these decades back, days on the riverbank, when trout responded to stick, twine, and pin. With woodbine fragrant after rain, I ran then laughing from the scuttling forays of the white farmyard geese. These later times, I might expect a flood of huge proportions to purge us of the wars we wage on the good earth who have grown smart with chemicals and missiles. Though we hold to prayer that love's unfaltering generosity might keep us safe as Noah and the remnants of all flesh stood out one dawn on washed ground, smelt the fragrance of woodbine after rain, and saw love light up again in all her promise, the dreary undersides of the clouds.
That was really beautiful. Talking about, you know, what happens when we abandon love.
Absolutely.
And all the negative things that can come from that. It might hurt sometimes, but it's important to press on and find that new thing, that new person, because without love, things go sideways.
Absolutely.
And then we can't have things going sideways. We can't have those chemicals and missiles. That's just no good. We have to care about one another, regardless of anything, really.
You know, I do like the extended metaphor here, Dina, regarding an allusion to Genesis, the flood.
Yeah.
That's where the title here comes from,
Right.
Rainbow. You hear the mention of, as Noah and the remnants of all flesh stood out one dawn on washed ground. That's talking about a cataclysm. That's talking about a calamity.
Oh, yeah.
A great destructive force coming and washing away the entirety of the human race. Yet from that turmoil, you see something beautiful rise, like a phoenix, like a rainbow,
Yeah.
you know? It's the same thing with chemicals and missiles. That's sort of our flood in the modern day. That's our calamity in the modern day. We are living in a modern industrial world where love is a rarity, where love is, we're almost blind to it.
And you know, that love for your fellow man that is so important to so many things and people and groups. It's important to care and pay attention. While it's sometimes easy to fall into a pit of thinking about just yourself or just your friends or your loved ones, really we should think about everyone. We should care about everyone just a little bit more. Things could be massively better if everyone just took that little step.
I absolutely agree.
After, let's send it to Amara Nestor with Terrible Music.
Terrible Music.
Terrible Music by Chessie Normil. I misunderstood what kind of boat party we'd been invited to. You were screaming in your sleep beside me, thrashing like a dead shark, held in the arms of a living man. You were both the shark and the man, which impressed me. My dreams don't scare me like that anymore. Sweating, you woke, and walked swiftly off the deck. Time passed until, over salmon, I got to congratulate us on our perceived humanity. Agreeing heartily, you poured champagne into a flute, and I was like, he just ruined that flute. You proceeded to play the most terrible music. Love hath made me stupid. I should have thought, this guy is a terrible musician. Shut it down. But instead I became a shallow bowl of strawberry milk, riding a fictional boat through a very real storm.
Thank you so much, Amara. I really love some of the silly imagery in this one. From the shark and the living man and the bowl of strawberry milk. You can see what's happening.
Right.
And I feel like we always bring that. We always bring up that you can see what they're talking about in your head, but it's really impressive because some people just can't do that, and that's fine. But the fact that these people can, and they can do it so unbelievably well, is really incredible. Just seeing, maybe after cereal, the milk's a little pink or whatever it is. Like you can see that bowl.
Right. I mean, personally, the line that I was hung up on was, he poured rum into the flute, and I was like, he just ruined that flute. Like that's such a. To me, it sounds just so contemporary.
Oh yeah.
It sounds very like something not mundane, but it's not rich and romantic like everything else we've been reading. And
it's very much just this situation's gone sideways.
Right.
Just not only is the author not understanding exactly what happened here, also the person isn't doing the best clearly, but it feels more like a conversation at points.
It does.
Just hey, last night you were really thrashing around. Like, are you okay? Get told about a bad dream. That doesn't bug me too much anymore. Like, sorry, but it's just that it's the mundane of that love.
Right. It's being able to look at it at face value.
Right.
I do think, though, with that mundanity, with the contemporary nature of this, it speaks a lot to the power of poetry. We talk about that a lot.
Absolutely.
We talk about how imagery is important in poetry, but something I don't think we emphasize enough is that your poem doesn't have to be romantic.
Absolutely
it doesn't have to
not.
be flowery. It doesn't have to have
I
words like
feel-
remnant.
I feel like a misconception of poetry oftentimes is that, oh, it has to rhyme, it has to be pretty, it has to be this and that and that. No. Poetry is anything, it just has to flow.
Right.
And that's really the only rule. And if you want to go for a certain style or a certain finesse, you can, but that's not required. It's not necessary. Sometimes it's just what's right here, it's what's important to you.
Absolutely.
So.
I just didn't think I'd ever be so affected by by hearing someone thrash around like a shark,
It's very silly, but you get it. You get the thrashing like a shark.
Right.
I think that this is the perfect time for another commercial break. We will see you right back here on Poetry Perch.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes now that have just begun under a purple sun. There's many reasons we are what we've become. I'm going through changes now. Things could be different, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
All right, welcome back to Poetry Perch, friends. We have one last poem for you today, and it is called A Lovely Love by Gwendolyn Brooks. Let it be alleys, let it be a hall, whose janitor javelin empeth and threw to sharpen hyacinth the darkness that we sought, and played we found wrought, make petals fall. Let it be stairways and a splintery box, where you have thrown me, scraped me with your kiss, have haunted me and released me after this. Cavan kindness smiled away our shocks. That is the birthright of our lovely love. In swaddling clothes, not like that other one, not lit by any fonding stars above, not found by any wise men either. Run. People are coming. They must not catch us here. Definitionless. This is a strict atmosphere. I really like this one. There's some bigger words here. But each and every one of them holds an extra weight to it. And even some of the shorter words, like where it tells them to run, is very, very powerful.
That's right.
It's a sentence, run. Like you were told, whatever's happening, doesn't matter. Just go, get out of here.
That's right.
And sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes people aren't overjoyed by what's happening. And obviously, everyone's read some kind of dramatization of it, whether that be, Romeo and Juliet or something kind of like the Titanic, where they're in love, but this isn't gonna last. Like something's gonna happen and make everything go. We all know it. We've all seen it happen in media, but it happens in real life too. And as much as it hurts, it's a true part of life.
It does. I do really appreciate the restraint in this poem, like you were saying. I think the reason why just those single word lines can be so powerful, just those short, descriptive words, is that they stand in contrast to everything else. They add a levity to it all. And I know that we already talked about mundanity before, but I feel like here we see we see something similar. We see a greater emphasis upon the everyday love.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone's going to have a big, tragic, romantic story.
Of course not.
Not everyone's a Romeo. Not everyone's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
I mean, there's
It's a little impossible.
it's a little
you know.
impossible, but we can all experience love in our own ways.
Of course.
And we all love in our own ways. And there's something to be said about appreciating that space, that setting, that moment.
Absolutely. It's interesting to see all of these different ideas of what love meant to these different people and how they wanted to show that to the public. Or, maybe some of these weren't meant for the public. Maybe they were meant for that one person. There's beauty in all of these, even sadder ones. They're all about the same thing, the thing that we are talking about today, and that's love. Love for a partner, love for a friend, love for humanity itself.
That is correct.
It can be a hard sell to talk about this, but when it's that time of year, you kind of gotta. And just no matter what's happening in your life, make sure you reach out to your friends and your loved ones this Valentine's Day, and make sure that you absolutely talk to them, even when they might have something going on. Just reach out.
That's right.
It's important, and make sure that there are other people. Keep that little bit of humanity with you, just in your back pocket at all times.
Absolutely.
It's again, it's a hard sell to do this, but
It is.
it makes life a little bit easier for you and me and you. It's gonna be what makes us all better in the end, and I can't wait to see what makes you better this Valentine's Day.
That's absolutely
What about
right.
you?
Well, I think it's really just everything you said, Tina. It's really profound to think that everything that we read today, they're all from different time periods.
course.
It's all written from different perspectives, different areas of the world, but
Different people.
different people. And they have
Different experiences.
different experiences. They've had their own life. They've had their own upbringing. They've had their own partners, their own families, their own relationship with the human race, and yet they all feel love. I remember earlier you talked about some of these poems. Maybe they weren't meant for the public.
Right.
That makes me think of the Shakespearean sonnets.
Oh, yes.
Over 100 sonnets, never meant to be shown to the public. They were meant expressly for Shakespeare's partner, and yet we see them, and we see the same universality, the same strong attraction that we see in everything we've talked about today. In The Sun Rising by John Donne and Rainbow by John F. Dean, we see that it just never fades, and I think that that's the power of the human race.
Yes.
I do absolutely think that this Valentine's Day, go out and keep some of that humanity in your pocket.
Yep.
Share that love for the world.
Doesn't just have to go to one place. It can go to any place.
That's right.
Right.
Choose love.
Choose love, for sure.
If you can, choose love.
All right. We will see you next time on Poetry Perch. Remember, friends, snaps, not claps.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Just wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. I'm just too far from where you are. I wanna come home. Let me go home. be home tonight. I'm coming back home.